night because our son was woke up. He was crying, and she went to deal with Taylor, our son. Came back in, and she said, "I think my waters have broke." I said, "No, they can't have. Like it's so early." And she said, "Yeah, you're right. I'll get back into bed." And then so she climbed back into bed. I thought, this is like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, that's not right. I don't think you should climb back into bed. We rang the hospital and they said, "No, you need to come in now." Because we live so far away from our families, it's like a 5-hour drive from Middlesbrough. She had to go to the hospital on her own because I obviously had to stay in the house with our son. And quickly ran our family, who hot-footed it down to all the way from Middlesbrough to Norwich, and we're really lucky to have such a supportive family. And by the time they got there, they allowed me to then go to the hospital, and we were in there a couple of days. And then actually Ashley was discharged because there was no sign of labour beginning. So the family all went back home, and they did that drive again, and then literally a few hours after being home, they had to come back down and do it again because labour did begin. So it was just a crazy sort of 72 hours. We're really lucky, to be honest, that we live so close to the training ground here and the hospital. It's all within a sort of 10-minute radius. So we've done a lot of driving back and forth. You don't know how long your baby's going to be in hospital for, so you have to try and find some sort of normality. You know, she could have technically been in there for months. Some babies, unfortunately, are in there for months and months and months. We were in there for 44 days. You have to find a sense of normality. I think it was after sort of 4 or 5 days, once my partner got home and we had help and I knew that I wasn't leaving her alone, that was when I tried to get back to training really and finish my rehab and become part of the squad again. I should have probably travelled with the team, or I was available to travel with the team for the fixture on Boxing Day, which would mean leaving on Christmas Day, being in a hotel overnight on Christmas Day. A, I didn't really feel ready to leave the family at that point, and B, it was just, I was really worried about my partner. And to be honest, the manager pulled me aside, and I was to and fro in whether to go and see him all week. And luckily he made the decision for me, which I think is always the best sort of way for that scenario to play out. And he said, "Look, I've been thinking about things. I think you should stay at home with your family. It's not right to take her away." And I'll never ever forget how he was with me around that. That'll stick with me for a very long time. It was just, he put me and my family before him and his job. Sort of 5 or 6 days after that, where I felt a lot more comfortable travelling with the team, we went to Millwall away. So it was, like I said, it was all a bit of a blur. It was a crazy period of, to be honest, I always told I wasn't actually happy with my partner Ashley with this, but I'd always said to her, "Look, any doubts, any issues at all, even if it's the smallest thing, our family is much more important than any job," and that's the same for anyone. I know it sometimes might not be what the football fans here want me to say, and I obviously do really care about the club and my football, but my family will always be first over anything. And the game finished, and I seen one of the guys, Johnny Martin, who works for the club, and he just looked at me a bit funny. He's like, "Oh, you need to call Ashley." And I remember thinking, "Oh God, what's this?" I obviously just rushed straight off to the hospital, but I did say to my partner, I said, she's been going through that on her own, you've been going through it on your own, just never ever do that again, just please. Doesn't matter if the game's about to kick off, just call straight away and I'll be there. It is a bit of a taboo topic in football, really. It's something that players are just expected to get on with and sort of be back in training the next day or two. The club, I couldn't speak highly enough about everyone here, how they were so supportive. I mean, the chef was even baking cakes in his back room for me to take in for the staff on Christmas Day. So that's the sort of lengths that people were going to help. People were offering to look after our son, Taylor. They were on about making food and bringing it to the hospital for us. I can't remember it all now off the top of my head, but yeah, it was incredible.